Hey, what's going on everybody? Dan here. In today's video, I'm going to give you guys a walk around of the new truck camper build. So it's been about a year since I've done a full walk around video of this truck, and that's actually the most viewed video on this channel, which is pretty sweet. But I just redid everything. Since the last video, I've put a bunch of new stuff in, I've taken a bunch of stuff out, I've put some stuff on the truck itself. So I kind of figured it was time for a new update video. So that's what this video is today. So we'll go ahead and start here in the back with the meat and potatoes of the build, and then I'll have the rest of the truck stuff at the end of the video. So the platform is a Ram 1500. It is a 2017. It is a Rebel package. Now, the Rebel package on the 4th gens, honestly, is mostly just an appearance package. So, like, the interior is all nice and blacked out, which is nice. I got the blacked out interior instead of the red interior. I'll get to that in a little bit, but it does have the air suspension, which I have yet to replace. But as you can see, this side sits down super low. The airbag deflates itself all the time. It deflates itself while it's driving. It's a huge pain in the butt. So I'm eventually going to replace the air suspension, which was one of the big selling points of the Rebel, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is. But in the relatively near future, I'm going to be replacing everything underneath of there pretty much. I'm going to be replacing the upper control arms. I'm going to go to coilovers. I'm going to do the whole 9 underneath of there. So it's going to get completely redone before the winter. So stay tuned for that, but it will be done relatively soon, just not before I go to Maine. Now on the back of the truck, I have what is known as the Treehouse by a company called Snap Outfitters. Now this is an older version of that camper. They make a little bit of a different model now. They have a lot more customization options than they did when this camper was made. They just have a lot more flexibility with what they can do. So like a lot of the new campers have a different material on them. They have a 3rd window option now that they didn't used to have. Like, they have a whole bunch of different stuff. So my biggest, I guess, complaint, you could say, about the camper system would be the canvas. I will eventually get that replaced, but this material here, I'll show it to you from the inside, but it's like a true canvas and it just doesn't breathe at all. And also it would be nice to have a 3rd window back there. So I'll eventually get that replaced. But for the most part, I actually really like this camper. Now, while I have it open, I figured I'd show you what's on top. So I have a fan on mine. That's an option that they don't do anymore because they were having issues with the fans leaking. But I actually removed my fan. I flipped it around so that it opens a different direction. But I hit it with like an entire tube of Sikaflex, and I haven't had it leak since. So it's been pretty good for me for now. So we'll see how that goes long term. But the solar panels that are here in the front are literally just Amazon special solar panels. I got them intentionally because they're cheap, because they're easy to get, and they're 100 watts each. So I have 300 watts of solar on the top, and then those up top there are just 2 Harbor Freight double rifle cases that I mounted on some aluminum that's just bolted to the roof rack that came on the camper. Now, also mounted to the side of the camper is the Bush Company 270 awning. Now, personally, I think this is one of the best awnings in the game. The struts underneath of here are super lightweight and they're super strong. I mean, I could theoretically hang on this and I don't feel bad about that at all. I've had this in some pretty substantial wind and I've had no issues with bending or flexing or anything like that. This is their 270, so it goes all the way around to the backside. They do make a 180 as well. Now, also on the outside, I have my sort of half-finished plumbing and electrical cubby. So I'm eventually going to have a water heater that's going to live right here, but I have a dual USB port that's charging some GoPro batteries right now. And then I have my main electrical cutoff stuff over here. So I have my cutoff switch, and then I have the power for the camper itself. And then these 2 lines are solar lines. So I have the solar split up in a way that I have 2 panels wired to this plug and then 1 panel wired to this plug. When I originally wired the truck together, I had dedicated solar panels for the front battery and for the rear battery. But I decided for the long term, it would be better to have those basically selectable. So I made that selection the plug here. So I can either combine those like I do now and have them 300 watts, or I can just split them so that I have, you know, 200 watts going to the back battery and 100 watts going to the front battery if I need to. But then here I also have my plumbing. So this is where I fill my 21-gallon water tank that's mounted underneath of everything. It's in the center underneath of everything, pushed back against the back wall. So it's as far forward and as low as it can possibly be, which is going to be great because 21 gallons of water weighs a lot. So then this is the water outlet. And the way that this is plumbed right now is that I have one outlet that goes over here, which is basically just like free flowing, and then I have it go switched here, which will make it come out from this, which is like a quick connect with a actual nozzle on the end of it. But eventually I'm gonna have this way be to a heater, and then the heated line will come out here, and then I'll have water access on the other side when I flip the switch. Now, before we hit the interior real quick, I do have an ACI stainless steel tailgate cover, and as you can see, it's gotten a lot of love. This thing is great though. It's super stable. It wasn't all that expensive, and it's really easy to clean. I can just wipe it down. It's stainless steel. It's flat stainless steel, so I can just wipe it down with whatever I need to clean, and then it's ready to go, and I can basically use this as one big giant cutting board, which is effectively what I've been doing. And now here is the new interior build. So this is all custom built by me personally. I did everything in here myself here in this driveway with a jigsaw and a circular saw, basically. So long term, I think I'm eventually going to have these two side pieces be replaced by like professionally made drawers that come in and out. So I'll have two drawers for each section. So two drawers here, two drawers here, two here, two here. Get the point. And I'll have those like professionally made. But for now, this kind of gives me like my proof of concept to kind of see what I wanted to do. And also gives me all the storage that I need. So right now I have all my like big storage over here. So I have like my leveling blocks, my propane heater, Pelican case, and then some random miscellaneous stuff over there. And then over here I have like all my cooking stuff. So my like coffee and then like personal items are back there, and then my cooking items, my spices, my cutting board, all that stuff's back there. My chair is right there, and then I still haven't really put anything back there yet. And now coming over to the driver's side underneath of the awning, so this is basically where I cook and prep and do everything. So I have a table that sits right here at camp that's currently holding a pizza oven. But this is my fridge. This is the Dometic 75DZ, so it is 2 zones. Usually I use both zones as a refrigerator, but when I was living on the road, I had the smaller zone, which is this side right now, set to be a freezer, and then the big side set to be a refrigerator so I could keep stuff long term. So that was super nice. This is a really great refrigerator. I bought it used, and I got a really big deal on it because it has, you know, this giant dent in the side. But it still functions. It still works. Stuff's cold in there. You know, I use it for holding lunch and stuff on the daily, but it works. So I really like this fridge. It's been used as a step. It's been used as pretty much everything. So really recommend these Dometic fridges. This thing has been through hell and back, basically. Since this is going to be the side of the camper that's going to be used the most, I decided to put the switch panel over here. So I have the switch for what is effectively the camper, so I can turn the lights on and off there. So that's the lights that are up top, and I'll get to those in a second. And then this switch here is the USB port on the other side of the truck. This is going to be another USB port that I'm going to wire in eventually. And then I installed some red underglow like a hot boy because I thought it would be fun, and I thought it would be nice for camp. They're actually RGB lights. They're Auxbeam RGB lights. And they work pretty good. The Bluetooth app lets you change them. You can kind of do like a rainbow mode if you really want to, but they work pretty well. I'll get some shots of those at night that I'll overlay here. I still have an extra rock light that I'll put probably somewhere, but I may end up doing even more of them later on down the road. So stepping into the camper now, you can see that I have plenty of room to walk around here. So it's about 20 inches wide here, 20 inches wide here, and 20 inches wide here. And I did that intentionally because I wanted to be able to move and walk around in here completely. Now, I've been testing this for the last like week or so, and I can sit down in here with the top down. So here, let me set this up real quick. So now if I bring the sleeping platform down, and this is actually a pretty good way to show you how the sleeping platform works. If I bring that sleeping platform down, it kind of simulates what it looks like with the truck top down. So I'll bring this down. See, that's the whole sleeping platform. And then, yeah, you know, it's tight. It's not great, but I could theoretically, hair getting everywhere, I could theoretically do something down here if I really needed to. Like if you know, weather was super bad or something like that, and then, you know, Archie can get in here too. He fits in here totally fine with me. And then I can also lay down diagonally, like right at the camera this way. And on the drawers here, you can see that I left, or they're not really drawers, I guess they're cabinets. I left a little lip here. So what I'm gonna do eventually, I didn't get time to do it before we're leaving for Maine, but eventually I'm gonna have, you know, a couple pieces of 1/2-inch ply that I'm gonna keep with me that I'll be able to string across here. I'm thinking I might do that like, you know, strip and then like string kind of thing to act sort of like a bed mattress. And then my truck bed is basically a square, so it's the same length this way as it is this way. So I can sleep diagonally, and theoretically I have more room sleeping this way than I do sleeping this way. No, that's a lot of hand movements here. But yeah, like I said, I still have easy access to everything underneath it here. You know, I can pull stuff in and out. I added just a little bit of a lip to kind of keep stuff in so that it doesn't just go flying out of the drawers when I'm on the trail and stuff. But yeah, we'll see how that works. Most of my stuff is in either these camp cover bags. They're like a canvas bag. I've been using these for years. They're great. Or I have these sewing bags that I got off of Amazon. I'll put a link to those down in the description down below. But yeah, I got those suggestion for those from my buddy Josh. Josh always has good ideas. So I bought 2 of those, and I keep a bunch of stuff in them. And I'm probably going to get some more just because they're great. Here, I'll open one up for you. They're nice and spacious. You can kind of separate stuff up. I believe this is just like my personal item one. So you can see, like, I keep trash bags in here. I've got sunscreen, bug spray, more sunscreen. Looks like water filters, dish soap, Excedrin, Advil, hair ties. This is, these are dry Swiffer pads for dust and all kinds of stuff. Like, you can fit a ton of stuff in here. Then I think I have plastic bags out on this side too. But yeah, then over on the other side of the truck, I have some of my taller stuff, like some Pelican cases. My propane heater, my buddy heater, is what I'm using right now. I'm eventually going to install a diesel heater underneath it here. And then I have my leveling blocks and extension cord. This is the hose that I have, the quick connect hose. That's eventually not going to live there. And then this is a strip light that's going underneath the awning. That's also not going to live there, but it's there right now. And then this is the panel to get to the electrical cubby. So one of the things in the last build that was a huge pain in the ass for me was the fact that if I ever had any electrical problems, I had to basically disassemble the entire truck to get to anything to even begin to think about making a repair. So I fixed that. So now all I have to do is lift this panel off and I can get to my entire electrical cubby. It's great. So now if I need to make any electrical changes, I can do it quickly and easily, and I don't really have to worry about it. And plus it acts as, you know, another top for if I want to lay stuff across. Now this plumbing won't always stick out like this. It's not always going to look this disorganized, but I'll just have to be careful about that for now. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to show you was these lights that I have up top here. So these are the National Luna touch lights. So I can control both the color temperature and the brightness on these. So they have 3 different brightnesses. So that was off, that's on, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. And then if you press and hold them, they change color. And then you have the 3 levels on the different color as well. So I have red interior here. So I chose red because it keeps the bugs down really well. And it is really nice and easy on the eyes. So you can see really well, plus it's nice and easy on your eyes. Now, this is probably my favorite feature of the camper, is this sleeping platform. So this sleeping platform goes all the way to the front of this camper. And the whole thing lifts up and is on struts. So like you get it to a certain point and it just takes itself up. Takes itself all the way up to the top. And this is kind of what the space up here looks like. Now, one of my favorite things, and I'm gonna have a full review on the Snap Treehouse here in a little bit, but one of my favorite things about this specific camper is the fact that the top is basically blacked out. The top is insulated, it's carpeted, it's blacked out. So like if I put the windows up in here, it's basically pitch black in here. It's fantastic. I hardly ever know what time it is whenever I'm waking up in the morning. It's absolutely amazing. But as far as sleeping arrangements go, I am using the Exped Mattress. This thing is the best thing I've ever slept on in my entire life. I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna leave it at that. It stays in here 24/7. It's fantastic. I can leave this thing inflated with a blanket, with a sleeping bag, with another sheet, with 2 pillows and a camping pillow, and I can close this camper completely and it doesn't even stretch the latches at all. Now, as far as other additional features, I do have this little dual 120 volt plug and USB plug thing here. I wanted to make a way so that I had access to my 120 volt both inside and outside. So theoretically, if I have, you know, my tailgate open like this, I can just plug an extension cord into it like that. Or if I'm sitting inside here, I can also get to it. Before, I had my outlet on this side, and when the tailgate was closed, I couldn't use my inverter, which sucks when you're, you know, inside here on a rainy day trying to charge your laptop. And then one more thing that's back here is these big reset patches that I had made before I went out on the road last summer. These are actually for sale on my website, danweinel.com. I'll put a link to these down in the description down below as well, but I think I'm selling these for like 10 bucks or something like that. But they're just a Velcro patch. They Velcro onto pretty much anything. But I got a bunch of these sitting in the closet, so I would really like to sell those if anybody wants them. The dogs are following me around tonight, but I'm kind of parked up against the trees too, so I got to be kind of careful with what I'm doing here. But on the front of the truck here, I'll show you, I have some ditch lights from Light Force, and these are mounted on the SDHQ ditch light brackets. And then I also have a Browning, I believe this is a +5 dB antenna for the GMRS. So that's what I have so far for lighting. I'm eventually going to do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to have some stuff on the camper, some stuff on the bumper, but that's going to come at a later time because shit costs money. But now on the inside of the truck, this is the Rebel interior. It's a dirt ball right now because I'm a dude that lives in my truck with my dog. But this is the Rebel interior. I got the all blacked out interior, which is perfect for me. I didn't really like the red. I could have lived with it, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. The main thing of importance in here is I have my GMRS radio underneath here, and then I have my winch controller, my wired winch controller underneath of there for if I ever need it. And then I have my 2 wireless winch controllers in there. That's about it. Oh, and then here's the switch for the ditch lights. That's eventually going to go to a switch panel when I get the other lights, but it wasn't worth doing all that just for one set of lights right now. Now, as far as wheels go, I'm running the Anthem Rogues, and I believe these are the 17x9s, and then I have them wrapped in Milestar Patagonia MTs. I'm actually really impressed with these tires. They're super quiet, and the wear pattern has been pretty good so far. But I'm mostly impressed with how aggressive this tread pattern is and how quiet they are on the road. I mean, they're like roll down the windows while you're cruising at 35 miles an hour down the road and still have a conversation quiet. As you can see, that tread pattern is pretty aggressive. So I'm very, very impressed with these. And they were probably one of the cheapest tires that I saw while I was looking. And now finally, on the front of the truck, I have my 13,000 pound winch. This is the OpenRoad 4x4. 13,000 pound winch. It's their Panther 2S series. They did send me that. I'm going to be doing a full review on that after I go to Maine. But that's mounted on the Vice Designs hidden winch plate, as Flynn is sniffing everything. I am extremely happy with the way that this looks. It is very hidden. Once I get the actual fair lead and the hook thing that I want to put on the front of this is going to look like a completely different truck. You're barely going to even notice that this is here. I mean, it's super subtle even with just this hook. Now, one of the things I like most about that winch is the clutch design on that. It's a super easy clutch to use to put it into free spool, which makes using the winch super easy. Plus, like I showed you before, it does have 2 wireless remotes, and then it also has a wired remote. But other than that, that's going to do it for the 2023 tour of my Ram 1500 Overland build. So if you have any questions about any of the parts or any of the stuff that I'm using, go ahead and drop them down in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer any of those questions for anybody. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and start getting ready for Maine, because I head to Maine at the end of this week. I'm going to be up there for an entire week. I have about 250 miles of dirt that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be filming that. So I hope to share that with you guys very, very soon. But until then, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around to the end. See you in the next one. Peace.